Recently, I was on a walk with my sister. We were talking about our usual topics such as life, relationships, psychology, philosophy, when I asked her, "Do you ever think that you might be the toxic friend to someone?" To which she replied, "Yeah, that is possible." This got me thinking, how often are we so consumed with letting go of all the toxic people in our lives without even considering that at one point or another, we have been the toxic ones? So today, let's look inwards before we look outwards, and let's discuss the top 5 signs that indicate that you're the toxic friend. Those of you who have been watching me for a while might hear that my voice is a little bit different, and that's because I'm still sick. I took a couple of days off, but I can't just lay in my bed forever. This is my passion, and as Queen said, show must go on. As I'm getting older and I'm reflecting more on who I am, my actions, what I bring out to the world, I've been thinking, Ilva, you're focused so much on outside people and toxic energies, but have you looked at yourself? Have you been have you been toxic to some people? And this is where basically this topic came from. I was talking to my sister, then I was talking to my friend, and I asked them the same question. Have you been thinking maybe that at one point or another you've been toxic? So I thought, why not share some signs that I found from my life that I think are good indicators that you're toxic? And while this is kind of a serious subject, it doesn't have to be that serious. I think we're all human. We all can grow from our mistakes. Let's not pretend that we're perfect. I'm not perfect. And although I want to be always a good friend, I know that because of my own fault, I have been toxic and I've had toxic behaviors. So let's discuss them. The number one sign that indicates that you're the toxic friend is you look down upon them, or you feel the need to portray yourself as better in 1, 2, or 5 areas in your life. And here's the thing, I honestly believe that most people don't do this consciously. I don't think we want to necessarily be bad friends or bad people unless you're like a horrible bully, but then this video is probably not for you anyways. I think this need to show that you're better is actually coming from a place where you feel like you're not enough, or you feel like you are sometimes even nothing in a particular area, and then you start comparing and you see that your friend is very good at a specific area and you feel the need to compensate by showing something else off, and this is where the toxic cycle begins. If you now look inwards and understand that, oh my gosh, I've done this in the past, I have felt the need to kind of put them down and show that I'm better, even in tiny little comments. I know it's sucky to realize that, but instead of feeling bad for yourself or being in this victim mindset, kind of ask yourself why. Happy people don't feel the need to put others down. Always remember that this is only a reflection on you, and this is something that you need to go deep in and understand what is it and how can I cherish myself and love myself so I don't need to prove anything to anyone, and I don't need to feel better by putting others down. We can work on anything the minute we realize what the problem is. So go in deep, and ask yourself, why do you have this need to prove that you're better? Number 2, you speak more than you listen. This is not just regarding friendship, but I think just communication in general. We all love to talk. We all want to feel like we're the center of attention, but that's a very unpretty, not pretty quality. I'm learning more and more of this in life because I know I love to talk. Everyone loves to talk about themselves, but there is no better way to make your friend feel special by listening to them and what they're going through. And when that relationship is mutual, as in both of you want to hear what the other has to say, it's magic because you both get to speak, but you're both more interested into what the other person has to say. The more you listen, the more people just it's like you're a magnet and you I forgot the word in English, draw. The more you draw people in, because people naturally want to be listened to. And if they feel that you're really there and you want to understand them and hear them, they will literally reach out to you. They will want to be with you. I've had this conversation with a close relative of mine. I remember that I used to say to her, sometimes when you kind of listen to me, I can see that your eyes are like somewhere else and you're thinking about something else. And that doesn't make me feel nice. I'm very close with that relative, so I can say that freely. And the thing is, when I told this to that person, immediately they were like, oh wow, thank you for telling me. I didn't even notice. I want to work on this. Most people want to work on being better friends, better partners, better sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers. It's just that we need to communicate because sometimes we're just not aware. I've had relationships where I'm like, I want to be better, so I will just listen. And the other person never asked how I'm doing. Like they were just going on about themselves. So this is what I'm saying. This is a mutual thing. You listen, you truly listen, but you don't listen. You don't listen. You don't listen to them because you want to speak. No. This is not how we're discussing this topic. This will not be authentic, and we don't need fake friendships. You listen because you care. If you don't care about that person, is that person even your friend? Because true friendships and true friends, I care about my friends' lives. I want to hear what is going on with them. I have cultivated in my life more and more friendships where I know that the other person also cares. And you honestly have to build a relationship where you're set with yourself, where you don't feel the need to constantly tell them something about yourself as well. Just listen. You'll get your turn to speak. The toxic trait number 3 is you're jealous of their success. Jealousy in general is a huge thing. I think we have all experienced jealousy at one point or another. I can tell you from experience, I'm not naturally a jealous person, but I have a memory in my mind where I was jealous of a friend. And I was happy for them, but I noticed how suddenly I'm jealous. And here's the thing, when I really reflected on that moment, it was because their experience reminded me that I'm not fulfilling something in my life. And again, as I told you, most of these toxic traits we have is just a reflection on what we're going through. It has nothing to do with that person. So this is also something to look at from the other side. If you are watching this video and you feel like by these signs you have someone toxic in your life, remember that this is not always about you. This could be a reflection of them. But if you are looking at this from your own perspective and you notice that, yeah, you've been jealous of them, again, why? What is this jealousy showing you? Are they doing something, or do they have something that you truly desire? What are you doing in your life to get to that place where you could have that? Jealousy is an illness, and it will only make you, honestly, very ugly. And that's why I don't even touch jealousy in my life. Like literally, I have formed a very specific language and I look at everything as an inspiration. But as I mentioned to you, I do remember this one time where I felt jealousy about something that my friend was going through, and I know immediately that that was because I wasn't fulfilling something of my own. So if you're experiencing that jealousy, look at yourself. What can I work on? How can I get to a place? If, for example, my friend has something, let's say it's not an experience, but something physical, I don't know, they're richer than I am. How can I work in my life, and what job can I take to get to that level? And if you feel like that is not your path, then you just have to truly look at your life and be more grateful of what you have. Sign number 4 that indicates that you might be the toxic friend: you make belittling comments. Again, this comes from not feeling confident, but what I mean by those comments is if you feel the need to always point out something negative about that person. Let's say, I've had this happen to me, but let's say you get a really good haircut, or your friend gets a really good haircut, and you find a way, without them asking your opinion, to say, oh, but it doesn't look nice, or oh, it looks kind of weird. Or let's say, I'm happy that I got in this and this university, and then the friend goes back and says, oh, but it's not even a good university. Like, they always find a way to downplay something that you're happy about, whatever it is. If you have found that you do that in your life, like if you feel the need to say something negative without them asking, that might be a sign that you're a little bit toxic. And don't get me wrong, there's a big difference between criticism and also asked criticism. Let's say you have an honest conversation and that friend literally asks, what do you think about this? Like, do you think I could improve this or do this better? You can always find a nice language to say something, but I feel very passionately, and I'm almost a little bit angry at people who give their unsolicited advice constantly, and it's always negative. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would you feel the need to always showcase that something is wrong? I feel the same way about like looks and like buying fashion or any kind of thing that maybe isn't my style. I would never point out, oh yeah, I don't like this. Like, why would you ever? I know I get a little bit like about this, but it's just that I've had this in my life, and I don't get it. And the thing is, and I'll tell you what's even like the next level toxic, is when that friend goes back and like, I'm just giving my opinion, but nobody asked for your opinion. Like, I didn't want your opinion. You see what I mean? A good way, if you're like, okay, but what do I do if my friend asks me something and I honestly think that this doesn't look nice? Like, let's stick with the looks, right? This is what I do. This is what I've always done. If the person is happy about something, how they look, they're like ecstatic and they're like, I love this so much, or I love my blouse, I love my dress, like, what do you think? If I don't think that that's particularly my style, I will say, well, it's not exactly my style, but I love how you love it, and if you feel good in it, go for it. Like, there is a certain language that you can use. You do not need to put your friend down by giving horrible comments. If you're doing that, girl or boy, that's toxic. You gotta stop, and you will lose friends that way. Cheers. And the last sign that indicates that you're the toxic friend is you betray their trust. I think this is the ultimate one. Trust is so important in any relationship. If you constantly betray the trust, that's what's wrong with you. Like, you have to ask yourself, what is wrong with me? What's causing me to do this? We can all slip. We're all humans. Sometimes we mess up. Sometimes someone trusts with something and we do something or say something we shouldn't. Okay, shit happens. But if this is something you do on a regular basis, girl, you're toxic. My recommendation is to really look at yourself and again ask, why am I doing this? Why? Why? What is hurting inside of me that I feel the need to do this horrible thing? Am I not realizing that this is horrible? Do I want to hurt this friend? Which again is like, that opens another gate. What's going on in your relationship? Underneath all these 5 tips and signs, really, they're not tips on how to be toxic. Please don't take this as a how-to video on how to be toxic. Jeez. No, the signs, all these 5 signs are showing us that we need to learn how to be reflective. The only way how we can be better as people and as friends is working with ourselves. And I am not perfect, although often I would like to be, but I am happy that I've been thinking more about this specific subject, because I realized that I have to sometimes stop looking outwards so much and look at myself and be like, are there any behaviors that I have been doing that are toxic? Everything is work. So I hope this video gave you a bit of insight into the top signs that really indicate that you're toxic, and I hope this will make you look at your life and think where you maybe have been toxic. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, don't go into the victim mindset. You can't achieve anything in life if you constantly look at yourself as a victim. You have full power to change what you have done. You have full power to become better and change your behavior. It's never too late, never. You could be 60 years old and change the type of human that you are. So don't give up. If you feel like you're toxic, work on yourself. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye.